The Iron Neck Pro. Lots of hype going on around the internet these days about this device. And after having been using it for some months now on many of my patients in the clinic, I'm going to give you the full breakdown as to my professional insight and experiences with using it. So let's get to it. Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Now we're going to dive into it right away here. Timestamps are in the description if you just want to jump to a particular section of this video because you are a busy person and I value your time. All right, so I don't like watching review videos where you have to wait all the way until the end of the video to get to the final verdict. And I don't want to waste your time here, so let's talk about the final verdict right away, and then let's talk about why I've settled on this particular decision. Now, if you're wondering why I'm doing it this way, it's because I don't care as much about audience retention in my videos as I do with just helping you out when it comes to getting you out of pain, becoming stronger, and learning the right stuff along the way. And again, keep in mind that I'm delivering this verdict from the standpoint of a physical therapist who has been using this device primarily on those who have been going through various stages of neck rehabilitation following motor vehicle accidents and for patients just needing general strengthening of their neck. So at the end of the day, the Iron Neck really has been an invaluable component for optimizing the recovery of many of my patients. Now, in terms of necks, at our clinic, we are very skilled with manual therapy and exercise rehabilitation protocols, and we work closely with various orthopedic surgeons and pain management clinics in town who specialize in higher level interventional techniques, such as diagnostic interventional radiology, PRP injections, medial branch blocks, and more. At the end of the day, we are super collaborative and we do all that we can to help others out. And so I personally believe that we're rather good with orthopedic rehab. And oftentimes, we have great success without the need for these higher level interventions or without the use of the Iron Neck. But I have had a handful of patients who have told me that incorporating the Iron Neck into their exercise rehabilitation has made a massive difference in their recovery. Now, I don't want to sound like a salesman here, I just want to sound like a physical therapist who has seen great improvements for patients for whom I know this device is appropriate for. And again, I know that many of my patients have thanked me personally for me using it with them. And of course, there are a few patients here and there who have either felt like this wasn't the device for them or that it just looked a bit too unusual for them to use, but there haven't been many. For most people we deem to be candidates for its use, they couldn't care less about how they might look with it on, they just care about whether or not it can help them on their path to recovery. Now, for what it's worth, I also use this device on myself, and I am a huge fan of how it feels to incorporate appropriate strengthening interventions for my own neck as well. So in addition to my patients, I as well have quite enjoyed having this device to use. Now, depending on which model of the Iron Neck you pick up, if you do feel like it is a product for you, it's certainly not the cheapest piece of equipment you'll likely ever purchase, but the cost is justifiable, at least in my opinion. After seeing the difference it's made for many of my patients, I just feel that it can be a very good investment to make. Now, there is a disclosure statement to make here. So the full disclosure is that I had been seeing a lot of advertisements for the Iron Neck online, and I really felt like it was a missing link in some of the cervical-based rehab we do for many of our patients at the clinic. Now, I reached out to Iron Neck and requested the Iron Neck Pro in exchange for my feedback of their product. There has been no money exchanged in this process, and all the thoughts and opinions in this video and on my blog posts are completely my own. Now, since that time, I have been so happy with how this product has helped my patients that I do now have an affiliation with Iron Neck. Now, please know that I do take my affiliations very seriously, and I do not affiliate myself with a company unless I am in line with multiple aspects of their overall mission and their values. And in terms of the Iron Neck company, I've spent time on the phone talking with the folks at Iron Neck as well as with virtual meetings, and I've always had great interactions with them, and I do feel like they are great folks who, like me, genuinely want to help others get out of pain, become stronger, and enrich their quality of life in the process. So as I move along in this review video, if you do feel that you'd like to purchase an Iron Neck, and if you'd like to save a nice little bit of money while doing so, you can use the discount below this video, which will help support this channel. And in terms of listing out the specific benefits of using this device, that's really for another video. I want this video that you're watching to focus mainly on the product itself, along with my overall experiences with using it for myself as well as for my patients. So as an orthopedic physical therapist, the two main categories of individuals whom I've been using the Iron Neck on have been patients who have been diagnosed with whiplash-associated disorder from a motor vehicle accident, as well as for patients who have generalized weakness or lack endurance with cervical musculature for various other reasons. And this is why I requested the Pro model of the Iron Neck. I knew that I'd have patients with a wide range of neck strength and function to rehab. And as a result, having the model that was able to provide accommodating levels of resistance from no resistance at all to high levels was a necessity. Now, just as with any other therapeutic adjunct or piece of exercise equipment in existence, this product is not for everyone. Now, it can be absolutely outstanding for multiple aspects of cervical rehab and even assisting with certain aspects of shoulder rehab, but only when appropriate. I have plenty of cervical patients who are appropriate for the use of the Iron Neck, but I also have plenty of patients who aren't, either for the current stage of rehab or just in general. So if you're not sure what's causing the pain or discomfort in your neck, or if you've recently had some sort of cervical trauma, it's best to get an evaluation by a qualified healthcare professional to help you determine whether or not this product is right for you or how to best go about beginning to use it. Now, I say all that because I just want all of you to be safe and have the best possible outcomes in your injury rehabilitation and your injury prevention pursuits, be it with the iron neck or otherwise. And keep in mind that there are indeed other ways to improve the strength, endurance, and overall health of your neck without the iron neck itself. But this product does absolutely make the rehab process a lot more convenient and precise when doing so. And if you do want a video on ways that you can strengthen your neck without this device, just let me know in the comment section below. All right, so the packaging. Now, when it comes to the iron neck having been shipped out to me, I have nothing but great things to say about how it was packaged. It was packaged pristinely, and it likely could have been run over by the UPS truck that it was delivered on, and it likely still would have been just fine. Okay, that might be a bit of an exaggeration, but you get my point. The packaging was absolutely how it needed to be, as if you'd expect with a product at this price point. So if you have any concerns about packaging, lay them to rest. Now, for the build quality, the Iron Neck Pro that we've been using in our clinic has been getting rather extensive use for a number of months now, and I wanted it to be like that before going on record with the review. Now, at this point, I don't have any concerns about it holding up after all its use thus far. And I'm confident that it will continue to hold up for some time to come, as it's still working perfectly after having dozens of patients run dozens of their individual sessions incorporating it into their cervical rehab. And this is certainly a good thing, because when you pay good money for a product such as this, you want to have the confidence that it'll hold up long enough to get your money's worth. Now, the device itself is made from plastic, which is exactly what it needs to be made from. Now, necks can be rather delicate, especially after injury, and keeping this thing as light as possible is what allows many of my early stage rehab patients to use it. In fact, I often have patients who get enough initial challenge simply by just performing neck movements with the device on their head without any external resistance hooked up to it. So don't think that they're cheaping out by using plastic. That's exactly what it needs to be made from, and the unit I've been using has held up just fine after over 100 sessions at our clinic. Now, I mean, if you are a college football player or a wrestler who wants to use this device to prevent injury, then sure, you'd be fine with a heavier piece of equipment on your head, but in terms of who I primarily use it for, lighter is better. In terms of the resistance dial itself, it does a great job at providing anywhere from no resistance to extremely high levels of resistance with just minor turns of the wheel. Now keep in mind that this resistance dial is a feature that's unique to the Pro model itself, and it's not found on the starter model or the varsity model. Now, if anything, I feel that the dial is a little too sensitive for my personal liking, going from no resistance to rather high levels of resistance without much turning. However, this is purely my own personal preference, and I'd rather have it be on the highly sensitive side than the not sensitive enough side. In terms of the resistance cable that came along with the unit that was sent to me, it was a blue 25-pound resistance cable, and it's the cable that's been used by the vast majority of my patients, with only a few requiring a lighter cable. Now also, just as a quick safety reminder, if you are using the Iron Neck, please don't ever use any resistance bands or tubing that isn't covered in a cloth sheet. The cloth covering will keep your eye safe if the tubing ever breaks or snaps while you're using this device. I say this because you will be staring right at the anchor point of the band for a lot of the exercises with this device, and if that tubing were ever to snap, you don't have to worry about having a band recoil and slapping you in the eyes. So make sure that you're using a tube with a cloth sheet around it. All right, let's talk about the comfort of this device. So anytime that you're developing a product that works by jamming a padded ring around your head, you're going to have your work cut out for you. Heads come in all shapes and sizes, and having a way to make your product as comfortable as possible for various shapes and sizes of heads can be tricky to say the absolute least. Nonetheless, I feel that the folks at Iron Neck have done a great job with this. Now, if I had to sum up the comfort of this product into a single sentence, it would be this. The Iron Neck likely won't be as comfortable as wearing your favorite ball cap, but it shouldn't be uncomfortable either. Now, I quite like the feel personally, and I've never had any issues with it feeling uncomfortable, and I can say the same for the vast majority of my patients as well. And that's saying something, considering that this device needs to be snug around your head to ensure that it doesn't move around as you perform any of your movements, especially if you're using any resistance on the resistance dial. So kudos to the folks at Iron Neck for doing a rather good job with this. Now, in terms of optimizing sizing and comfort, there are 3 interchangeable forehead pads that you can select from based on your needs, and they're secured with some rather sticky Velcro. And even after swapping out these forehead pads numerous times for many of my patients, the Velcro is still holding up quite nicely. Now, the Iron Neck does come with a skull cap if you do need to optimize comfort or fit a bit more. However, it fits me just fine without it, so I don't wear the skull cap. And for any of my patients who feel that they might need to wear one, I just have them wear their own kind of toque or beanie, because no one wants to wear a communal skull cap. But I do enjoy wearing it on rather cold days outside, and when I'm not wearing it, it's usually sitting on Steve over there. And for what it's worth, most of my patients echo the same sentiments that the Iron Neck is overall reasonably comfortable once you optimize it for your personal head size and get used to wearing it. Now, as for the inflatable bladder on the back, this is what helps to really optimize the appropriateness of the snugness around your head. The pump for it works quite nicely, and the release valve works as exactly as intended. So I'm happy with how well those have worked and held up thus far. Now, in terms of the limitations of the Iron Neck, there are a few, just as there are with any other exercise device on the market, and they're not major, but I want this to be an open and honest review. Now, in terms of the limitations, you will be happy to know that what I feel is the biggest limitation won't likely be much of a limitation for you. And since I use this device in a clinical setting, I really wish that there is an easy way to quantify how much resistance or tension a patient is using on the resistance wheel. The dial doesn't afford any direct way to determine how much tension is on the dial. Now, as a physical therapist, anytime I can quantify the parameters of a patient's rehabilitation, it not only makes insurance companies much happier, but it also takes out the guesswork for the patients or myself for their next session. With numerical markings for resistance, it's much easier to set them up with the exact same resistance, or even slightly more if they need it, for the next session. And this also helps patients to see the progress that they're making as well. Now, I've talked directly with the team at Iron Neck as to why they haven't included a numerical marking system on the resistance wheel, and it's primarily due to the fact that the wheel has to spin around more than once for achieving higher levels of resistance, and that the tensioner is likely to change over long periods of time, meaning it will take more turns to tighten it to the same settings. So as someone who tries to track patients' progress as much as possible, that's a bit of a bummer, but it's more of a minor one, and I can usually get the resistance right to where the patient feels they had it set to last time. And the other two ways that I can track their progress is by the type of resistance cable that they're using and how far away they're standing from the anchor point. And again, assuming that you're not using this in a clinical setting, not having numerical markings on the resistance wheel is not a big deal for you, because again, you can likely just go by feel and you'll be just fine. Now, the only other issue I've come up against with using this device in the clinic is the need to continually clean the forehead pads from one patient to the next. Now, the pads can be a bit tricky to clean since they're made from a porous material, but this is in no way a fault of the Iron Neck, as it's primarily used by an individual who purchases it, as opposed to being used with multiple patients in a clinic. And again, for you, using it by yourself, this likely isn't going to be an issue for you. You'll basically just find the forehead pad that you need to wear, you'll put it in the device, and then you'll keep it there and you'll be good to go. So the elephant in the room when it comes to the Iron Neck is its cost. Now, the Pro model is the most expensive model of them all, and at the time of making this video, it goes for around $600 US. Now, I'm a physical therapist and really nothing more than that. I have no idea as to how much it costs to design and market products, or to have research and development teams work their magic, or anything else that comes along for the overall design and construction process of a piece of equipment. So I don't feel it's for me to determine the pricing of the product, but I do wish it could be lower. Now, I know all too well how it can feel to have trouble justifying a product based on its price. But what I can say is that I feel that the Pro model I've been using at the clinic has made the cost justifiable. Now, it would be a different story if it were to be falling apart by now, or if I were to be having issues with the quality right from the start. But that just isn't the case. It's had constant use ever since being brought into the clinic by numerous patients, and it's still holding up strong. And so if the cost is an issue for you, I totally get that. You're talking to a guy who up until recently was a very broke graduate student. But here's a couple of nice factors I do want to point out. The first is that the folks at Iron Neck have different financing options available if a full upfront payment might be a bit too much for you to make. And the second factor is that they do tend to run sales and discounts at various points in the year, at least for what I've seen based on advertisements that have been popping up on my social media feeds. And of course, if you do feel like this product is for you, you can save some money by using the discount code that I've provided beneath this video. It is an affiliate link that offers you a nice bit of savings if you do choose to purchase anything on the Iron Neck website. And again, I earn a small commission since it is an affiliation, but you save some money in the process. So at the end of the day, I'm incredibly glad to have this device as part of our rehab and injury prevention arsenal at our clinic. And as glad as I am, I know I have a handful of patients who are even happier. The quality is there, the convenience is there, the versatility is there. It's just an overall great product when used appropriately and for the appropriate individual. Based on an individual's needs and overall condition, at times it can just be really tricky to strengthen cervical muscles, and the Iron Neck makes the job much more convenient, precise, and overall effective as a result. So I hope this video has been helpful in giving you some insight that can provide you with further information pertaining to this device and whether or not it may be an appropriate purchase for you to make. Again, if you feel like it's not appropriate for you or it's not a wise purchase at this point in time, there are plenty of other ways to go about effectively strengthening your neck. And whether you're looking to avoid pain and injury or to rehab from it, be it with the Iron Neck or not, I'm wishing you all the best on your endeavors. Your body is capable of amazing things, so hang in there, be patient, be smart, be persistent, and you can make good things happen for yourself in the process. And speaking of which, please keep looking after yourselves, keep looking after one another, keep making great things happen. and I'll see you in the next video.